Today we're going to talk about the new Disney Plus film Artemis Fowl, so let's get started. Hey everybody, my name is Justin. I love to watch movies. If you guys love to watch movies too, you guys are in the right spot. Make sure to hit the subscribe button down below and click that bell notification for more up and coming videos. Artemis Fowl, it's finally here. After its original release last year, and then we were supposed to have it in May, and then now it's finally hitting Disney Plus. I haven't read the story Artemis Fowl before. I remember it being released when I was younger in elementary and being intrigued to kind of read it, but I never did. And I know it was hugely popular. So I don't know much about the stories and the books as well. But what I do know about Artemis Fowl is that it seems to be a really interesting story. Artemis Fowl is a 12-year-old genius and descendant of a long line of criminal masterminds. He soon finds himself in an epic battle against a race of powerful underground fairies who may be behind his father's disappearance. This is directed by Kenneth Branagh, who directed the first Thor film, starred as Gilderoy Lockhart in the second Harry Potter film. We have a pretty decent cast. We have Josh Gad in the film, Judi Dench is in the movie, Colin Farrell is in the film as well, and with a successful director and a pretty good cast and an interesting story that does not translate well into this movie. This movie is one of the worst films I have seen this year. With a film with fairies and goblins and magic and a cool looking character, I expected this movie to be more thrilling than it was. This was a dull film. It's an hour and a half long and none of the moments feel exciting at all. Artemis, the setup for him seemed like he was going to be a really cool character. He was very smart, had interesting dialogue, and then the film just felt very isolated within it. The way that it was set up, he was looking for his father, but everybody kind of came to him and never really got to explore outside of his house, and that didn't really allow for him to, I guess, grow as a character because he was used to everything that was around him. So he had these fairies coming in and these big giants coming in. So he kind of had to adapt a little bit. But those characters that came in as well, like Josh Gad, none of them were interesting as well. All of this movie, I just stared at the screen waiting for something to happen that impressed me. Waiting for something to happen that made me go, wow, this is really cool. Nothing in this movie happened to where it really excited me. Yeah, there were a few action scenes throughout, but none of it was thrilling. None of it was filmed very well. It was all just very mediocre. We have Judi Dench in the movie, who's like the leader of this underground fairy world, and she went from Cats to Artemis Fowl, and both of her performances are cringeworthy. Judi Dench is such a great actress, but I don't know why she's picking such awful roles. Colin Farrell is in the movie, and he reminds me a lot of the Wrinkle in Time film, where we had Chris Pine, where you had a really big name that played a father that went missing, and they didn't utilize the character at all. So Colin Farrell was in the film playing Artemis Fowl's father, and he was just there, and they tried to find him, and that was it. Really, they could have picked anybody to play Artemis Fowl's father. This movie had all the right elements to make it interesting and a lot of fun. A really cool character. Artemis, he's very smart. They could have utilized him a lot more in the film. Fairies and goblins, creatures that were really cool, that could have been entertaining. We also had a fun story of an artifact that was in dire need of people trying to find it and keep it safe. I think it had all the right elements with the story as well to make it somewhat interesting, but the direction from Kenneth Branagh and the characters as well, the way that they're written for the movie, was not very fun. Like I said, I've not read the story, so I don't know the source material, but what I've seen off of Twitter is people absolutely trashing this film because they have read the story and it just does not match that source material and the way that the book was written. I understand that frustration. I've read many stories and I've seen the books for them and they just don't work. And that's how adaptations work. And sometimes they are successful like the Harry Potter movies, or sometimes they're bad like the Artemis Fowl films. This film just felt very isolated with its location at his manor and everybody coming to him. I would like a little more exploration of this world. It had a setup for a second film, but if this movie was in theaters, it would have absolutely bombed. It would have been a disaster at the box office. I just know it. I'm curious to see what the numbers would be for it being on Disney Plus, how many streams that they did have. Because the way that this film ended, it definitely set up another movie. And I know there are multiple books, but with how this response is, I'm not sure if they would want to do another one. Maybe change the director, have someone else onto the film, because it was bad and I expected something a lot more from this. Also, those fairies in the movie that have like the green outfits and they fly reminded me of the elves in the Santa Claus movies. The first one where they're kind of flying around and helping Santa. It looked a lot like that. So Artemis Fowl was a really terrible film. I understand why now it was pushed back so many times. It was supposed to come out in August last year and then May this year, and now Disney Plus. So I think it was a smart move to just kind of scrap it and put it on Disney Plus because they would have lost a lot of money at the box office. I'm going to go ahead and give Artemis Fowl a D+. Thank you guys for giving me a review for Artemis Fowl. Stay tuned for more up-and-coming content. You guys are the best as always. This is Just Watch Movies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.